The cruiser's lights exploded across the rain-slicked pavement like shattered accusations, pinning me against the brick wall of that dingy Seattle bar where secrets went to hide. My heart hammered not from the beer in my veins, but from the way her lips had tasted like forbidden rain. Alara, the woman whose whisper had just promised me forever in the shadows of the alley. Then his voice boomed, thick with venom. "Step away from the freak, Missy. This ain't no place for your kind of sin." Officer Harlan Graves, badge gleaming like a false god, had caught us mid-kiss, and in that instant, I knew my world was fracturing. Not because of who I loved, but because of who I'd buried deep inside to survive it. I'd fled the fluorescent hell of my East Coast upbringing at 18, trading Ivy League ghosts for the Pacific Northwest's relentless drizzle, reinventing Oakley Reed as a tattooed barista with a motorcycle that roared louder than her regrets. Seattle swallowed me whole, its fog-shrouded streets, the hum of indie coffee shops where flannel met fishnets, and the underground pulse of queer nights that felt like breathing for the first time. But love, that was the spark I'd starved for, until Alara walked into the driftwood one stormy Tuesday, her laugh cutting through the espresso steam like sunlight on waves. She was 25, a graphic designer with freckles like scattered constellations and eyes that held the Pacific's endless blue. We bonded over shared sketches, hers vibrant and whimsical, mine jagged lines of suppressed fury, and by week's end, our fingers brushed over a shared latte, igniting something primal. "You draw like you're fighting shadows," she'd said, her voice a soft anchor. I wanted to tell her then that those shadows were my father's empire, the Reed dynasty of Boston boardrooms and political handshakes, where I'd been groomed to be the perfect heir until I shattered the mold by loving Riley, my high school flame, and got shipped off to rehab for it. But I swallowed the truth, letting our first date unfold in a Pike Place nook, where the salt air mingled with her vanilla scent, and we kissed under the shadow of the market's neon signs, oblivious to the storm brewing. Our romance bloomed in stolen moments, midnight rides along the waterfront, where the space needle pierced the sky like a defiant needle, her head on my shoulder as we watched ferries slice through black water. Alara dreamed aloud of a tiny studio in Capitol Hill, walls alive with murals of women entwined in eternal dances, symbols of the love she'd chased since coming out at 19, only to face her family's quiet exile. "They love me," but from afar, she confessed one night, tracing my collarbone in the dim glow of my apartment. I held her closer, my own exile a sharper blade, disowned by the man who built hospitals in my name, yet wielded silence like a weapon. We were mirrors, fractured but fitting, our bodies a language of recovery, soft explorations under threadbare sheets, her gasps my gospel, my touch her redemption. Yet the city's underbelly gnawed at our edges. Whispers in the bars. "Watch your back with the badges." Seattle's pride flags flew high, but its alleys hid the grit, cops who patrolled with eyes like hawks, zeroing in on anyone who didn't fit the straight-line script. I'd heard the stories. Raids on queer clubs, slurs tossed like grenades at couples holding hands. But it felt distant, a cautionary tale, until Harlan Graves materialized like a bad omen. He was a relic, mid-40s, broad as a linebacker with a mustache that screamed unchecked authority, patrolling the U-District like it was his personal fiefdom. We first crossed paths innocently enough, Alara and I, arms linked, strolling post-dinner from a Thai spot, when his cruiser slowed to a crawl. "Evenin', ladies," he drawled, window down, his gaze lingering too long on our intertwined fingers. "Curfew for troublemakers." Alara squeezed my hand, her laugh a shield, but I felt the chill, his eyes stripping us bare, labeling us before we could speak. We hurried on, but the seed was planted. He'd marked us. Weeks blurred into a haze of passion and peril. Alara's apartment became our sanctuary, walls papered with her art, silhouettes of lovers defying storms, and our nights a symphony of tangled limbs and whispered vows. "You're my anchor, Oakley," she murmured one dawn, her fingers weaving through my hair as sunlight slanted across our bare skin. I traced the curve of her hip, memorizing the map of her. The scar from a childhood bike crash on her thigh, the constellation of moles across her shoulder, like a secret code. In her, I found absolution, the girl who'd once knelt in a confessional, begging forgiveness for desiring softness instead of the steel her father demanded. But as our love deepened, so did the shadows. Anonymous notes slipped under my door, scrawled with pervert in block letters, and glimpses of a cruiser idling outside the driftwood. I should have told her everything then, the weight of my lineage. Alexander Reed, the philanthropist senator whose campaigns preached family values while he buried his daughter's queerness under NDAs and therapy bills. I'd changed my name, hacked my trails, become a ghost to escape the machine. But vulnerability terrified me more than any badge. What if she saw not the woman she loved, but the heiress I'd fled? Instead, I armored up, teaching her self-defense in the park, quick jabs, evasive footwork, framing it as city smarts. Just in case, I said, dodging her playful lunge, our laughter echoing until it dissolved into kisses against the evergreens. The bullying escalated on a crisp October eve, leaves carpeting the sidewalks like fallen warnings. We'd slipped into that alley behind the driftwood after closing, the air thick with the scent of rain-soaked asphalt and our urgency. Her back against the cool brick, my hands framing her face, we lost ourselves, lips crashing, breaths mingling, the world narrowing to the heat between us. Then the lights, blue and red strobes fracturing the intimacy, his boots crunching gravel like bones. Well, Graves snarled, flashlight beam invading our space, illuminating Alara's flushed cheeks and my defiant stare. Public indecency. You dykes think you own the night. Alara froze, her hand clutching mine like a lifeline, but I stepped forward, shielding her. We're just kissing, officer. Last I checked, that's not a crime. My voice steady, but inside, the old rage uncoiled. The same fury that had propelled me across states, away from men like him who wielded power like a noose. He laughed, low and ugly, circling us like prey. In my town? It is if I say so. Step away from her, freak. Or I'll make sure your little artist here loses her gig. Those murals? Hate speech waiting to happen. The slur landed like a slap, but it was his eyes on Alara, predatory, possessive, that ignited me. Touch her and you'll regret it, I hissed, the words tasting like the bourbon I'd sworn off. He shoved me then, hard against the wall, his breath hot with coffee and contempt. Know your place, girl, or I'll drag you both in, make examples. Alara's sob broke the standoff. She pulled me away, murmuring apologies to the night as we fled to my bike, the engine's roar drowning her tears, but not the bruise blooming on my ribs. That night, curled in my bed, she traced the mark with trembling fingers. Why us? What did we do? Her voice cracked, vulnerability stripping her to the bone, and I hated myself for the secrets stacking like bricks between us. Nothing, I whispered, pulling her close, our bodies aligning in that sacred geometry of solace. We made love slowly then, reclaiming what he'd tried to steal, her sighs my rebellion, my kisses her armor. But dawn brought resolve. I couldn't hide forever. Not from her. Not anymore. The harassment became a rhythm, a toxic beat underscoring our stolen joys. Graves tailed us to brunches in Fremont, his cruiser a specter at red lights. He'd accidentally bump my bike in lots, muttering, "Watch it, Lesbo," under his breath. Alara withdrew, her sketches darkening, women with chained wings, lovers divided by iron bars. I can't lose you to this, she confessed over takeout foe, her eyes rimmed red. I vowed protection, but doubt gnawed. My father's influence lingered like a phantom limb, resources I'd forsaken but could summon if pushed. One call to the family lawyer, and Graves would be dust. But that meant unveiling Oakley Reed as Olivia Reed, the prodigal daughter, and risking Alara's love for the facade I'd built. Fate twisted the knife at the Pride rally, Seattle's streets a riot of rainbows and rebellion under gray skies. We marched hand in hand, Alara's sign reading, "Love is not a crime." Her spirit rekindled amid the chants. I felt invincible, her palms sweaty in mine, until Graves appeared at the periphery. Off-duty, but his scowl a uniform. He cornered us post-march in a coffee tent, coffee sloshing as he loomed. "Celebrating your deviance? Pathetic." His words dripped acid, but it was the flash of his phone, snapping our photo, that chilled me. "This goes viral, and your lives? Over." Alara's grip tightened, her voice a whip. "Back off, you bully." "We're not afraid." But fear coiled in her eyes, and as we escaped into the crowd, I snapped. In a shadowed doorway, I kissed her fiercely, pouring defiance into every press of lips, every slide of tongue, a declaration against the world. "We're stronger." I breathed against her neck, her pulse racing under my thumb. That night, we danced in my living room to old jazz records, bodies swaying like willows in wind, her laughter a balm. Yet sleep evaded me. The photo loomed, a digital guillotine. Retaliation came swift. Alara's freelance gig evaporated, client citing unprofessional associations after an anonymous tip. My shifts at the Driftwood shortened, whispers of complaints from upstanding patrons. Graves' shadow lengthened, a flat tire slashed with precision, notes escalating to threats. "Choose straight or suffer." Isolation crept in, friends distanced, fearing fallout. Alara and I clung tighter, our love a fortress. Lazy Sundays in bed, trading stories of first crushes, hers on a camp counselor, mine on the girl next door who taught me desire's sharp edge. "You saved me from fading," she said, her head on my chest, heartbeat syncing with mine. But cracks formed. One evening, after a slashed canvas arrived at her door, her mural defaced with slurs, I broke. "I can end this," I said, pacing our shared space, now cluttered with half-packed boxes. Her eyes searched mine, hopeful yet wary. "How?" The truth surged, bitter as bile. "I'm not just Oakley. I'm Olivia Reed. My father, he's Senator Alexander Reed. One word from me, and Graves is investigated, ruined." Silence stretched, her face a mosaic of shock, betrayal, love. "Why hide it from me?" Tears welled. Mine or hers, I couldn't tell. "Because I wanted you to love the woman I chose to be, not the one born into power. But it's poisoning us." She crossed the room, cupping my face, thumbs brushing salt from my cheeks. "I love you, Oakley, Olivia, whoever. But secrets erode." We collapsed together, sobs mingling, then shifted to urgency, hands mapping familiar territories with renewed desperation, bodies affirming what words fractured. Climax came like thunder, leaving us spent, entwined, whispering plans into the dark. Empowerment ignited. I placed the call at dawn, voice steady as I invoked the Reed name to old allies, lawyers, investigators, media whispers. By noon, Graves' precinct buzzed with internal affairs, anonymous leaks tying him to prior harassment claims, his photo of us twisted into evidence against him. Alara watched, awe softening her edges. "Your force," she murmured, kissing my temple. We ventured out that day, hands linked defiantly on a waterfront walk, the city's pulse syncing with ours, ferries honking approval, gulls wheeling overhead. The climax erupted 2 nights later, under a moonless sky that mirrored my resolve. Graves, cornered and feral, waited in the alley behind the driftwood, demoted but unbowed, reeking of whiskey and rage. "You think your daddy's money scares me?" he bellowed as we emerged from shift, Alara at my side. His fist swung wild. I dodged, years of suppressed fury channeling into a precise counter. Knee to gut, elbow to jaw, dropping him like felled timber. Sirens wailed distant, his comrades arriving not as saviors, but witnesses to his unraveling. Alara's arms enveloped me as he groaned on the pavement, her voice fierce. "It's over." Flashbulbs popped, reporters, tipped by my network, capturing the fall of a tyrant. Graves was cuffed, his empire of intimidation crumbling under spotlights that illuminated not just his crimes, but the quiet courage of lovers everywhere. In the aftermath, sunlight pierced Seattle's perpetual veil. Charges stuck, Graves faced trial, his badge stripped, a symbol of accountability in a city yearning for it. Alara and I rebuilt. Her murals graced community centers, bold declarations of queer resilience. My coffee shop shifts evolved into advocacy workshops, teaching survival with a side of espresso. We moved to a sunlit loft in Queen and walls alive with our joint art, portraits of us, unapologetic and eternal. One spring evening, atop Cary Park with the skyline sprawling like a conquered beast, I knelt, not in submission, but offering. Alara, you saw me, all of me, and loved the whole fractured mess. Marry me? Her yes was a vow, sealed with a kiss that tasted of victory and vanilla, the city below a testament to our triumph. Love, it turned out, wasn't just defiance. It was the quiet revolution that reshaped worlds. In each other's eyes, we found not just reflection, but redemption, a humanity that no badge could bully away. And in that gaze, we were whole. The wedding was small, intimate, a rooftop affair in Ballard under strings of Edison bulbs swaying like fireflies, the sounds murmur our soundtrack. Alara in white lace that hugged her curves like a lover's promise, me in a tailored black suit that echoed my edges softened. Vows exchanged amid laughter and tears. I promise to fight your shadows with light, she said, her ring slipping onto my finger cool as resolve. Friends toasted with craft IPAs, rainbow flags fluttering from the railing, a far cry from the alleys where we'd first tasted terror. That night, in our new bed, bodies familiar yet renewed, we consummated not just union, but survival, slow, deliberate thrusts of hips, her nails raking my back in ecstasy's script, my mouth charting her peaks until she arched, crying my name like a prayer answered. But peace, in our story, wasn't stasis. It was the fertile ground for deeper truths. Months in, as autumn painted the Cascades gold, Alara uncovered layers I'd glossed over. A forgotten photo album from my pre-exile days surfaced in a box, smiling Olivia at galas, arm linked with my mother's ghost, father's shadow looming proud. Tell me about her. Alara urged one fireside evening, her head in my lap, fingers idly stroking my thigh. I hesitated, the words heavy as the heirlooms I'd burned. She died when I was 12, cancer, swift and merciless. Dad buried his grief in campaigns, me in boarding schools. I think that's when I learned to hide. Love too fierce gets taken. Her eyes, those endless blues, held no pity, only the fierce empathy that had hooked me from day one. You carry her in your fight, she said, rising to straddle me, her weight a grounding force. Our kiss deepened, clothes shedding like old skins, her breasts pressing warm against mine as we rocked in rhythm with the crackling flames. Orgasm built like a wave, crashing mutual and shattering, leaving us slick and sated, whispers weaving futures untethered from past chains. Yet the world intruded, as it does for those who dare visibility. News of Graves' sentencing, 5 years, a slap but a statement, rippled through queer networks, drawing interview requests. I demurred at first, Oakley's anonymity a hard-won cloak, but Alara pushed gently. Your voice could shield others. Reluctantly, I spoke, a podcast in a cozy Capitol Hill studio, voice raw as I recounted the alley, the slurs, the love that fortified me. Listeners flooded in, stories mirroring ours, gratitude like lifelines. Alara beamed from the sidelines, her pride a crown, and that night, we celebrated with rooftop stargazing, her telescope framing constellations we named after our scars, Orion's belt as bullying's fall, Cassiopeia as lovers rise. Holiday season brought tests of another stripe. Invitations from my father's camp, polished cards hinting reconciliation, timed with his re-election bid. He wants the prodigal photo op. I scoffed over eggnog at a friend's you'll bash, tinsel glittering like ironic halos. Alara, ever the bridge builder, squeezed my knee under the table. What if it's real? Closure for you both. Doubt warred with longing. The boy in me craved paternal absolution. The woman scorned it as leverage. We flew east against my instincts, snow blanketing Boston like a shroud. The Reed estate loomed, manicured lawns, columns echoing empires. My father waiting in the study, silver-haired and steely, extended hand tentative. "Olivia," he began, voice cracking on the name I'd forsaken. Dinner was a minefield, probes into my lifestyle, veiled barbs at Alara's artistic pursuits. She held court with grace, defending our life in Seattle with tales of murals mending communities, her hand under the table anchoring mine. Bed that night in the guest wing was refuge, her body a sanctuary, legs wrapping mine as we moved urgently, muffling moans into pillows, reclaiming agency from ancestral walls. Dawn brought confrontation. In the library, amid leather tomes and oil portraits, I laid bare the exile's toll. You sent me away to fix what wasn't broken. But love fixed me, her love. Father's facade cracked, tears tracing lines etched by power's price. I was afraid of losing you to a world that devours difference. Alara's arm around my waist, we forged fragile peace. Not forgiveness entire, but a truce. Flying home, turbulence mirroring my soul, I leaned into her, whispering, "You make heroes of us both." Spring thawed more than earth. It birthed vulnerability's bloom. Alara's gallery show, a series titled Badges and Bouquets, blending thorny cop motifs with floral embraces, drew crowds, critics hailing its raw humanism. I curated the wine, my pride swelling as she navigated spotlights, her sundress swirling like petals in breeze. Post-reception, in the artist's lounge, champagne fizzing, we slipped away to a velvet chaise, her straddling my lap, skirt hyped, my fingers delving deep as she bit my shoulder to stifle cries, climax rippling through us like shared verse. Yet intimacy deepened beyond flesh. We delved dreams. Adoption whispers over brunch, envisioning a child raised in rainbows, not restraints. Two moms, fierce and fair, Alara mused, sketching crib motifs on a napkin. I nodded, heartful. The girl who'd once prayed away her desires now plotting legacies of love. Challenges loomed, agency's biases, society's stares, but our history armored us. From alley assaults to courtroom conquests, we'd carved space. Summer solstice brought ritual, a road trip down the Oregon coast, motorcycle humming beneath us, wind whipping secrets free. Campfires crackled on beaches, her guitar strumming folk tunes of outlaws and love, my stories spinning yarns of sirens seducing storms. One twilight, waves lapping like applause, we exchanged tattoos. Matching vines entwining wrists, thorns guarding blooms. That night, under canvas, stars winking complicity, our lovemaking was elemental. Earth in her grounding thrusts, fire in my trailing bites, water in sweat-slick slides, air in gasped endearments cresting to union. Back in Seattle, autumn's palette framed evolution. I launched a nonprofit, Read Resilience, ironically named, funding legal aid for queer harassment victims. Alara's designs its logo, interlocking hearts pierced but unbroken. Graves' appeal failed, his incarceration a footnote in our forward march. Father visited once, awkward but earnest, toasting at a fundraiser with a nod to my daughter's fire. Alara and I, ever partners, navigated it with humor, post-dinner. In our kitchen, her pinning me to counters, fingers and tongue eliciting surrender, laughter bubbling through moans. Winter circled again, but warmer. Our first anniversary, a cabin in the Olympics, snow-muffled world ours alone. Fireplace aglow, we slow danced to vinyl crackle, her curves molding to mine, leading to rugs strewn with clothes. Explorations languid, her mouth on my chord drawing symphonies, my reciprocation leaving her quivering, vows renewed in afterglow's hush. Life's tapestry wove on, Alera's pregnancy announcement. IVF triumph, swelling bellies and nursery pains. My hand on her rounding form a daily miracle. Birth came fierce, a daughter with Alera's eyes and my stubborn chin, named Aria, Song of Defiance. In hospital hush, cradling her, I wept. From bullied shadows to this light, love's arc bending toward justice. Years folded like pages. Aria's first steps in pride parades, her giggles echoing our triumphs. Graves paroled early, but faded into obscurity, a ghost we pitied more than feared. Father's retirement speech cited us obliquely. Family redefines itself, a nod to mending. Alera and I, gray threading temples, still stole alley kisses, hands clasped against the world. In the end, love wasn't the absence of storms, but dancing through them, kissing in cruisers' glare, building empires from ruins. Oakley Reed, once hidden, now herald, bully slain, woman loved, legacy etched in hearts unbound. And in Alera's gaze, eternal, I saw it all. The girl who dared, the life we claimed, the humanity that endures. No, wait, this was never just survival. It was resurrection, the kind that starts with a single, defiant heartbeat in the face of oblivion. Aria's cries filled our loft that first year, a symphony of need and joy that rewrote our rhythms, sleepless nights trading feeds, her tiny fists clutching our fingers like talismans. Alera, radiant in motherhood's glow, sketched lullabies on walls, whimsical whales spouting rainbows, fierce foxes guarding dens. I, the novice guardian, learned tenderness's edge, rocking her through colic storms, my voice crooning old sea shanties, softened to whispers. She's your fire, Alera teased one dawn, nursing in the rocker, Aria's latch a perfect pull. I knelt, kissing her forehead, then Alera's, the three of us a closed circuit of grace. But parenting in our skin carried weights, playground stares at our unconventional family, teachers' hesitant questions about which mommy. We armored with advocacy, school board talks on inclusive curricula, my nonprofit expanding to youth programs where kids like young Oakley could name their truths without shame. Alera's art evolved too, installations in museums, interactive pieces inviting viewers to weave stories of hidden loves, threads of fabric symbolizing silenced voices. One exhibit, Threads of Us, featured Aria's handprints amid thorny vines, innocence entwined with resilience, drawing tears and applause. Challenges crested subtly. Father's visits grew regular, his awkward gifts, stuffed senators in suits, easing into genuine bonds. He'd bounce Aria on knees once rigid with rhetoric, chuckling at her babble, eyes softening when Alera shared design tips for his memoirs. You've built something real, he admitted one Thanksgiving, carved turkey steaming, our table a mosaic of chosen kin. Forgiveness wasn't erasure, it was excavation, unburying the man beneath the mask. Yet echoes lingered, a cousin's wedding invite, laced with traditional undertones, testing my resolve. I declined, choosing instead a quiet dinner with Alera, candles flickering as we slow danced in the kitchen, Aria asleep upstairs, our bodies rediscovering heat, her thigh parting mine on the island, fingers curling deep, gasps sinking to the rain's patter. Alera's career soared, a TED Talk on art as activism going viral, her vulnerability a beacon, recounting our alley night, the bully's fall, love's quiet thunder. Backstage, nerves jangling, I held her whispering, your poetry in motion. Celebration that eve was electric, hotel suite overlooking the harbor, champagne toasts leading to silk sheets tangled, her tongue tracing my scars, my hands worshipping her stretch marks, climaxes crashing like applause, affirming our unbreakable weave. Aria turned 3 amid cherry blossoms, her curiosity a whirlwind. Why do some friends have daddies? We answered with stories, our love's origin tale, simplified to 2 mommies who fought dragons for each other. Therapy woven, a family triad unpacking my exile's residue, Alera's abandonment fears, forging us stronger. Dates revived, babysitter nights at jazz clubs, her in red that hugged like sin, my gaze devouring as we swayed, post-set drives to overlooks where windows steamed from urgent need, her on my lap in the front seat, skirt rucked, rhythm urgent against the dash, stars witnessing our unquenchable fire. Summer brought pilgrimage, a cross-country ride, Aria strapped secure, tracing my escape route in reverse. Boston streets stirred phantoms, old haunts where Riley and I had stolen kisses, the rehab clinic now a faded memory. Father met us at the estate, grounds alive with Aria's glee, swings creaking under his pushes. Grandpa's castle, she squealed, and in her joy, I glimpsed absolution. Alara captured it in photos, 3 generations under oaks, vines of blood and choice intertwining. Westward, Oregon dunes hosted bonfires, Aria roasting marshmallows to char, Alara and I stealing glances heavy with promise. Tent sipped, child slumbering adjacent, we made love hushed, spooned forms grinding slow, her hand guiding mine between thighs, muffled peaks rippling like dunes waves. Dawn hikes revealed tide pools, life teeming in hidden crevices, mirrors to our own. Fall's harvest yielded growth. My book deal, a memoir titled Shadows to Sparks, chronicling the bully, the badge, the beloved. Writing was excavation. Nights at the desk, Alara massaging shoulders taut, her presence muse and anchor. Launch party buzzed with allies. Queer icons toasting, Aria presenting the first copy, her scrawl, Mommy's words. Launch night, after party intimate, Alara pulling me to the powder room, door locked, her mouth claiming mine, fingers deft under skirt, quicksilver release leaving us flushed, returning to cheers with secret smirks. Winter holidays layered magic, Aria's wonder at lights, our traditions blending, Alara's solstice rituals with my lapsed Catholic carols, father joining via video, his tree twinkling behind. New Year's Eve, clock striking, we renewed vows lakeside, fireworks blooming as I dipped her low, kiss sealing decades' dreams. Bed that night was reverent, candles guttering, bodies oiled and languid, every caress a gratitude, her straddle deliberate, eyes locked through waves building to shattering harmony. Spring heralded Aria's school entry, pigtails and lunchbox bravado masking our anxieties. PTA meetings tested mettle, subtle queries on family structure, met with Alara's charm offensive, bake sale murals of diverse homes. Triumphs mounted, her first art award, a ribbon for family portrait depicting us 3, hands linked against storm clouds. Pride that year, Aria on shoulders, banners waving, felt like culmination, parade floats thumping bass, our steps a march from margins to center. Yet undercurrent stirred, Graves' release, a tabloid blip we ignored until a letter arrived, apology scrawled shaky, prison's toll evident. I was wrong. Hate blinded me. Debate raged over dinner. Burn it or bridge. Alara advocated response. Break the cycle. And we did, a supervised coffee meet, his eyes downcast, words halting. Your strength shames me. Catharsis, not absolution. We left lighter, donating his restitution to our fund. Summer camp for Aria-freed weekends, retreats to wineries, tastings loosening tongues to fantasies, roleplay whispers over Pinot, leading to vineyard hideaways, grass tickling backs as we devoured, her whimpers echoing vines, my name a chant to the sun. Autumn's palette framed milestones, Alara's solo exhibit in New York, me and Aria tagging along, city lights a echo of Seattle's pulse. Gallery opening glamorous, critics swooning over resilient roots, pieces evoking our journey, thorns blooming roses. Afterglow in our suite, champagne spilling, Aria tucked in adjoining, Alara and I ignited, mirrors reflecting our frenzy, her against glass, legs wrapped, thrusts deep and desperate, release a roar muffled in shoulders. Winter whispered expansions, talks of sibling for Aria, Fertility consults blending hope and hurdles. Father's health scare, a mild stroke, drew us east, hospital vigils forging deeper ties, his recovery laced with legacies, trusts for Arya, whispers of pride in the path you carved. Spring bloomed with conception, another IVF miracle, Alara's form rounding anew. Pregnancy's poetry. Ultrasounds like sonnets, kicks like Morse code of love. Arya's big sister glee, decorating nurseries with handprints. Pride swelled fuller, family of four in spirit, banners bearing love multiplies. That night, post-parade picnic, Alara leaned into me, hand on belly. We're a revolution, one heart at a time. And so we were, from bullied whispers to boundless echoes, love's narrative unending, humanity's finest verse. The second pregnancy unfolded like a sequel with sharper edges, Alara's cravings for salt and spice mirroring her spirit's fire, mornings spent with ginger tea and my steady hands on her back. Arya, now 5, appointed herself chief protector, drawing baby shields of glittered dragons on fridge notes. Our loft expanded metaphorically, walls echoing with trilingual lullabies, English tales, Alara's half-forgotten Spanish rhymes, my hummed folk fragments. Doctor visits became rituals, Doppler wands revealing heartbeats like Morse. It's a boy, the tech announced, and we wept, envisioning a son with her curls, my jaw. Father's recovery steadied, his calls frequent, grandpa jokes laced with advice on navigating the arena. He even attended a virtual fundraiser, his endorsement a quiet thunder, funds pouring for queer youth shelters. You've made me better, he emailed post-event, words I printed, tucking into our memory box beside Alara's first sketch of us. Summer sweltered with anticipation. Beach days at Alki, Arya building sandcastles crowned with seashells, Alara's belly a drum I tapped tunes on, her laughter bubbling as waves lapped our toes. One sunset, family picnic spread, I proposed expansions, not rings, but rings of kin, inviting Riley, my high school ghost, for a long overdue coffee. She arrived, silver-streaked and sage, her embrace forgiving old fractures. You bloomed where I wilted, she said, toasting our mismatched mugs. Alara watched with grace, later confessing, her story's yours too, honor it. That night, gratitude fueled us, slow bath, suds sliding, her pregnant form buoyant as I knelt, tongue worshipping swells and secrets, her climax a gentle quake. Fall's harvest included Harvest of Truths, my memoir's paperback release, tours to campuses where students shared parallel pains, bullied for boys' hands in boys' dorms, girls loving girls in locker room whispers. Q&As became therapy circles, Alara moderating with sketches live-drawn from tales, Arya coloring in margins. One panel, a teen's tearful recount of cop harassment echoed our alley so sharply, I faltered, voice breaking. You're not alone. Fight with love as your blade. Backstage hug from Alara, her whisper. That's why I fell. Your heart's a hurricane. Labor came autumnal, leaves flaming outside hospital windows as Theo entered. 8 pounds of fury and blue, Alara's eyes wide in his, my hold trembling with awe. Arya peered over rails, whispering, my brother dragon. Homecoming blurred in newborn fog, tandem nursing, my midnight bottles, Alara's recovery a dance of rest and reclaim. Intimacy shifted postpartum, tender explorations, her guiding my touch to rediscover contours changed, our connection deepening in patience's forge, peaks soft but profound. Winter wrapped us cozy, holidays with double the chaos, Arya's elf antics, Theo's milky smiles, father's shipping monogrammed booties. New Year's, kids slumbering, we slipped to the balcony, city lights winking, her in my coat, kiss escalating to wall press, fingers frantic under wool, release swift and stolen, toasting resolutions with chilled breaths. Spring's thaw mirrored Theo's firsts, rolls, coos, grabs at Arya's braids. We joined a queer parents group, potlucks brimming stories, adoptions battled, surrogacies won, joys multiplied. Alera's post-baby art surged, a series doubling down. Diptychs of hands, for now, cradling infinities. Gallery buzzed, Theo in a sling against my chest, Aria finger-painting beside, critics noting the domestic divine in defiance. Summer road trip south, California's sun kissing our expanded clan, Disneyland magic for kids, wine country whispers for us. Napa nights, vineyard villas, babysitters on call, Alera in sundresses sheer as secrets, my eyes feasting, dinners leading to candlelit chases, her chasing me to canopied beds, bodies slick with heat, love-making voracious, her atop, belly soft now, rhythm reclaiming wildness, cries echoing grapes. Fall enrolled Aria in kindergarten, her backpack a badge of bravery, drop-offs tear-streaked but triumphant. Theo toddled after, bilingual babbles charming neighbors. My non-profit hit stride, a Seattle center opening, Reed Haven, walls Alera muraled with welcoming waves. Ribbon cut with father in attendance, his speech halting but heartfelt. Pride in the path less traveled. Media swarmed, our family front page, headlines from Bully to Beacon, Love's Legacy inked. Winter's chill brought crossroads, Alera's offer for a professorship at Cornish College, mentoring young artists. It's time, she said over cocoa, Theo gnawing blocks. I supported, though logistics loomed, my tours expanding east. Compromise brewed, hybrid lives, weekends winged, tech tethering. First separation test. Her weekend classes, me solo parenting, video calls ending in sexts, her voice husky, miss your hands, my replies vivid, building ache for reunions flood. Spring bloomed Theo's first steps, crashing into Aria's arms, our cheers a chorus. Pride parade, wagon pulled, signs reading, family full spectrum, drew cheers, a float dedicating to Oakley's fight. Post-March block party, Alera and I swayed to bass, kids dancing wild, her lips on my neck promising later, delivered in alley echoes, now safe, her against fence, skirt lifted, urgent union under stars, reclaiming space. Summer camps split us joyfully. Aria at art immersion, Theo at tot tumbling, freeing adult escapes, yoga retreats where poses flowed to post-class tangles, her flexibility a revelation, my strength her scaffold, Matt's muffling ecstasy song. Fall's foliage framed Alera's tenure track, her syllabus a manifesto of marginalized makers. My book tour climaxed in Boston launch, father hosting, hall packed with old allies turned advocates. Signing cues shared secrets. Your words freed me. Alera, Theo on hip, beamed. Aria hawked merch. After party intimate, hotel bar to suite, her toasting to words and wonders, leading to sheets rumpled, her mouth a masterwork on me, then reverse, peaks polyphonic. Winter holidays grandeur, extended kin converging, father's estate a hub of harmony, cousins curious, aunts embracing. Aria's play, the brave mommies stole the show, puppets battling mean monsters. New Year's, midnight confetti, we slipped away, snow falling soft, love-making in library hush, desks dusted, her bent over tomes, my thrusts reverent, release a silent storm. Spring heralded Theo's second birthday, park party with piñata dragons, Alera's cake a masterpiece. My nonprofit's impact report glowed, cases closed, lives lifted. A donor gala, black tie, Alera stunning in emerald, my tux tailored sharp, dance floor hours, dips deep, later limo ride heated, partitions up, her hand in my lap steering to hurried heaven. And through it all, love's core pulsed, bedtime stories triple-voiced, park picnics with Theo's toddle, Aria's queries on why love looks different, answered with embraces. From one woman's hidden heart to a family's open symphony, we'd woven humanity's kindest thread, knot by knot, kiss by kiss, unbreakable. Time, that sly architect, layered our foundations with patina, Theo's curls wild as Alera's youth, Aria's sketches sharpening to satire. our lines etching from laughter's lines to wisdom's furrows. The nonprofit burgeoned into a network, satellites in Portland and Tacoma, each a beacon scripted from our scars. I keynote conferences, voice honed to blade. Bullying breaks bodies, but love rebuilds worlds. Applause thundered, but Alara's post-speech text grounded. Proud of my warrior. Home for worship. Worship came swift. Airport pickups escalating to backseat blurs, her mouth eager, my hands mapping routes home. Father's twilight years softened him further, a memoir co-written with me, echoes of empire. Bared his regrets, homophobia's poison in political veins, my exile his gravest error. Launch in D.C., suits and senators, his arm linked mine. Alara and kids in front row, Arya whispering critiques. Post-reading dinner, toasts to Redemption's Road, his eyes on grandkids misty. Hotel night, family's sweet sprawling, Alara and I stole to balcony. City hum below, her against railing, dress hiked, wind whipping as I entered slow, rhythm building to gale force gasps, stars complicit. Summer sabbaticals became tradition. Cabin in the San Juans, no signal, just sea and self. Kids kayaking with locals, Alara and I hiking to hidden coves, cliffs dropping to turquoise, her bikini a tease, my dive pulling her under for submerged kisses, surfacing to sandy unions, salt-stung and sun-baked, her legs locked as waves lapped our frenzy. Fall ushered areas tween turn. 11. Braces glinting, crushes budding on girls with guitars. Like you and Mom, she probed over pizza, eyes wide. We nodded, sharing Riley tales sanitized, Alara adding, heart follows heart, no map needed. Her first dance invite, to a classmate, hand-hold shy, we chaperoned, hearts swelling at her twirls, later consoling a playground slight with ice cream and armor up with art. Theo, 4, shadowed her adoring, his trucks crashing into doll worlds, bridging boy-girl divides. Alara's professorship tenured, a panel on queer visuals in crisis her crown, colleagues lauding, students gifting murals. Celebration dinner, dean's toast, then home to cake and chaos, kids abed early, her in lingerie lace. Tenure treat, leading to bedroom ballet, silk scarves binding wrists, her commands soft dumb, my submission yielding to shudders, reciprocity flipping power to mutual melt. Winter's grip loosened with grants. My org funding a docuseries on harassment survivors, Graves interviewed reluctantly, his remorse raw TV gold. Premiere packed, tears collective, after-party hugs healing. Alara's arm through mine whispering, your spark lit this. Spark reignited later, green room couch, door barred, her straddle fierce, rock of hips to rhythm unspoken, release a roar hushed. Spring's renewal hit Theo's preschool grad, cap and gown comical on his frame, diploma a crayon scribble. Party in park, relatives toasting, father FaceTiming cheers. Aria's school play, her as rebel queen, script her own drew scouts, her stage presence pure us. Post-curtain, bouquet in arms she hugged, for the dragons we slayed. Summer abroad beckoned, family jaunt to Vancouver, border breeze easy, kids marveling at totems tall as tales. Gastown haunts echoed Seattle's grit, Alara and I pub crawling sans progeny, ale loosened, her foot teasing under tables, leading to alley echoes redeemed, now laughs, her against brick playful, fingers quick, climax covert and cathartic. Fall deepened area's arts, scholarship to Summer Institute, her portfolio pulsing protest, cops as caricatures, lovers as legends. Departure teary, airport goodbyes, her promise, I'll draw the world better. Empty nest preview, Alara and I reclaiming routines, yoga duets flowing to floor mats heated, poses twisting to penetrative poetry, breaths synced in sacred stretch. Winter holidays hybrid, half in Boston, snowshoeing estates, father frail but fierce, reading Theo bedtime classics. Return flight, kids zonked, Alara's hand in mine, We're his legacy, too. Legacy Layered, my second book. Hearts Unbadged, Anthology of Voices, foreword by Alara's verse. Spring Birth Theo's Kindergarten Leap, Backpack Battles 1, Drop-Offs Duo Mom Triumphant. Alara's Sabbatical Project, graphic novel of our saga, panels raw, alley anguish to family flourish. Early drafts shared over wine, her pencil strokes stirring memories, leading to studio sessions intimate, desk cleared for her perch, my mouth between thighs, ink smudged on skin as she crested, muse made manifest. Summer Camp Redux. Aria thriving, Theo tentative but bold, freeing us for couples retreat. Bali dreams deferred to Big Sur, cliffs and kelp, hot springs steaming secrets. Soaks led to slick slides, her back to my front in waters warm, fingers circling cores, peaks bubbling surface. Nights in yurts with elong haze, bodies oiled, tantric slow burn to explosive union. Fall's equinox aligned with Aria's return, tails tumbling, first kiss stolen at campfire, like yours, Mom. Oh. We celebrated with Sundays, guidance gentle. Own your story. Alara's novel pitched, agent buzzing, her excitement electric, kitchen counters claimed, her bent forward, my thrust celebratory, cries caramel sweet. Winter wrapped with awards, my org's civic medal, gala glitz, Alara's gown emerald echo, dance floor hours, dip staring. Post-speech, limo to loft, partition down for once, driver averted, her hand stroking, my reciprocation mutual, arrival disheveled and divine. Through season spin, loves we've held, anniversaries alpine, kids' milestones marked, father's letters loving. From one woman's shadowed stand to family's sunlit stride, we embodied the human spark, defiant, tender, eternal. Adolescence ambushed like a squall. Aria at 13, hormones a hurricane, slamming doors over curfews. Her sketches now storm clouds of identity quests. Am I like you? Too much, she vented one thunderous eve, sketchpad flung. Alara and I tag-teamed. Tea and talks, my tales of teen exile, her of artistic angst affirming. Your too much is treasure. Theo, 8, mediated with Lego bridges, his empathy innate, building peace towers for sibling spats. Father's decline accelerated, Parkinson's tremor shaking his script, but spirit unbowed. Visits to Seattle, wheelchair rolls in parks, Aria pushing, Theo chattering policy parodies. His final book dedication, to Olivia and her hearth, love's true empire. Passing came quiet, spring rain pattering, our flight hasty, funeral a sea of suits softened by our rainbow ties. Eulogy mine, voice steady. He learned late, but loved loud. Graveside, Alara's hand in mine, kids flanking, we planted a tree, roots for remembrance. Summer mourned in motion. Road trip south, Grand Canyon's vastness a balm. Echoes of loss in layered stone. Campfires crackle confessions, Aria opening on crushes compounded. Boys too, maybe? We nodded neutral. Fluid as rivers love. Theo collected stones. Grandpa's strength. Alara and I hiked rims at dawn, her pack light, my arm steady, viewpoints yielding to valley views intimate, blanket spread, her beneath me, sky wide as our whispers, union grounded in grief's grace. Fall schooled sharper. Areas coming out, by bold, classmates mixed, one slur-scribbled locker our call to action, my org lawyers leaping. School board showdown, Alara's visuals viral, wind swift. Theo's science fair volcano erupted metaphor, erupting like feelings, he beamed. My third project, podcast series, Badges Unbound, Survivor Spotlights, Alara producing, her edits empathetic ears. Winter healed in layers, holidays hearth-centered, father's ashes end on mantle, toasts to echoes enduring. Aria's first date, girl with violin, we vetted with ice cream interrogations, her blush our balm. Theo's holiday play, shepherd in tea towels, stole scenes. New Year's, kids crashed early, Elara and I in hot tub bubbles, her legs draped, water churning as fingers delved, peaks steaming the night. Spring surge, Elara's graphic novel published, Alley to Altar, bestseller buzz, tours tandem with Theo in tow, Aria minding home. Signings swarmed, fans sharing parallels, her panels poignant. Launch party, publishers posh, later loft lounge, her in victory velvet, my kiss claiming, bedroom blaze, her commands queenly, my service sovereign, ecstasy's empire ours. Summer splintered sweetly. Aria at leadership camp, queer youth forged, returning radiant with pins and pals. Theo's soccer squad, goalie grit, games gridded with cheers. Our escape, cruise to Alaska, glaciers calving like catharses, sweet sunsets to starlit sheets, her in nothing but necklaces, my exploration exhaustive, tongue and touch to trembling surrender, night's northern lights danced. Fall fortified, Aria's high school honors, debate team dismantling discrimination, her speeches sparks of my fire. Theo's trombone toots, lessons lilting. Nonprofits decade mark, gala grand, survivors spotlighted, graves attending anonymous, nod from afar immense. Elara's keynote slayed, her visuals victorious. Winter whispered wonders, Aria's prom, tux for her, gown for date, we prepped with photos funny, tears true. Theo's winter concert, brass bold. Holidays hybrid, new traditions, father's favorite pie, stories swapped. Eve's Eve, snowshoe stroll, then fireside fervor, her stride, firelight flickering forms, rhythm roaring to resonant release. Spring seeded futures, Aria's college apps, arts academies eyed, essays on lineages lessons. Theo's treehouse build, hammer swings heroic. Elara's sequel solicited, hearts unchained, plotting expansions. My TEDx invite, stage set for Love's Long Game. Summer sojourned Europe, Paris for Aria's sketchbooks, Rome ruins for Theo's myths, Elara and I stealing sane suppers, Colosseum shadows for surreptitious caresses, Eiffel glow to hotel haste, her against bidet, quicksilver quench. Fall flowered farewells, Aria's acceptance to RSD, Rhode Island calling, dorm dreams bittersweet. Theo's middle school meld, braces bonding him to Aria's old tales. Send-off party, suitcases stuffed, airport hugs hydraulic, her flight first, ours echoing empty. Winter warmed with visits, Aria's holiday hall, campus tales tumbling, new love letters hinted. Theo's robotics win bought battling bots. Elara's book 2 brewing, panels passionate. New Year's nest intimate, kids out, her in silk, slow seduction, feathers and fingers, peaks prolonged, resolutions ravished. Through tempests tamed, love's loom held, from fledgling family to fledged fledglings, our thread the warp of worlds remade, tender tenacity, humanity's hymn. Empty nests echo, but ours resonated with reinvention. Aria's freshman calls crackling with critique, art's brutal, but beautiful, her voice a bridge across coasts. Theo, 12, tower of teen awkward, hormones honing his humor, trombone traded for guitar grooves, strums shadowing Elara's old chords. We adapted, date nights deliberate, reservations romantic, her in heels clicking confidence, my gaze grazing gratefully, dinners dissolving to drives desirous, scenic pull-offs, seats reclined, her mouth masterful, my hands homing harbors, climaxes confidential under canopies of conifers. Elara's sequel soared, hearts unchained unchaining chains, sequels to Survivor sagas, illustrations incendiary. Book tour bonded us closer, planes and panels, hotel harmonies, her post-reading adrenaline alight, my massages melting to mergers, showers steaming with soapy slides, peaks polished by travel's tempo. Spring semester synced with Theo's growth spurt, jeans shrinking, Voice-cracking concerts comical. Aria's spring break splash, portfolio polished, pride in her process palpable. My podcast peaked, episodes evergreen, guests galvanizing. 1. A trans cop performing ranks, graves foil fascinating. Recording rap, studio afterglow, Alara waiting wingside, whisking to wine bars, her whispers wicked, leading to loft liberties, couch conquests, her reverse cowgirl reigning, my grips grounding gales of glee. Summer summon siblings. Aria in turning galleries, paint-splattered prodigy. Theo at surf camp, boards battling breakers. Our interlude. Italy idle, Tuscany truffles and terraces, vineyard villas vast, Alara's easel capturing cypresses, my muse moments, picnic prosciutto to prone passions, olive groves obscuring our odyssey, her atop amid antsy ants, thrusts terracotta tanned, release ripening like grapes. Fall framed flights. Aria's sophomore stride, double major moxie. Theo's braces off, grin gleaming, crushes confessed on boys with beats. Hearts a playlist. Alara advised, echoing our anthems. Non-profit nexus expanded, national chapters nascent, my vision viral, TEDx talk trending, from badge to bond. Views vaulting values. Winter wove welcomes. Holidays hubbub. Aria's flight festive. Theo's gift guitar gleeful. Father's foundation folded into ours. Endowments eternalizing his evolution. Eve's embrace expansive. Family feast to fireside fables. Then couples coda. Kids crashed. Her in holiday lace. Tree twinkling trespass. Packages parted for parts playful. Her bend over bows. My entry evergreen. Yule log Yuletide yielding yips of joy. Spring symphony. Aria's exhibit acclaim. Ancestral arcs. Arcs from alleys to academies. Critics crowning. Theo's track team triumphs. Hurdles hurdled heroically. Alara's masterclass mania. Ments multiplying. My org's Oscar-esque honor. Humanities award. Gala gowns and grips. Alara's armalore. Dance staring. Dais departure to discreet daisies. Powder room pulse. Her against marble. Fingers furious. Flush of formality forgotten. Summer splintered sun. Aria Europe exchange. Sketches streaming. Theo wilderness week. Fires forged fortitude. Our odyssey. Japan jewels. Kyoto zen to Tokyo tempo. Temples tranquil. Her kimono caress. My yukata yield. Onsen oneness. Water's warm weaving wonders. Submerged strokes to surface urges. Petals of peak in public privacy. Fall fortified futures. Aria's grad school whispers MFA musings. Theo's teen tango. First formal fancy. Tie true. Alara's trilogy teased. Heart's horizon. Horizons hopeful. Podcast pivot to video. Visuals vivid via Alara's lens. Winter's warmth. Aria's winter wedding. Hers? No roommates, but revelry rich. Her maid of honor mantle masterful. Theo's holiday harmony. Choir crooning carols. New Year's nexus. Nuclear nest. Resolutions recited. Then rendezvous raw. Her in resolutions ribbon. Bound and begging. My untying unraveling to rapture's reciprocal. Seasons cycled ceaseless, but our core crystallized. Fledglings fledged. Feathers from our fire. Love's lattice, lacing lives. Legacy not lost, but launched. Humanity's handhold hallowed. Maturity mantled us like mist. Alara at 50, silver threading auburn like comet trails. Her laugh lines a lattice of lived light. Me, same vintage. Tattoos timeless. Muscles memory of motorcycle miles. Aria, 21, RASD radiant. Internship in Brooklyn buzzing. Her by pride a banner billowing bold. Girlfriend gallery curator. Kisses candid in FaceTime frames. Theo, 18, high school helm. Valedictorian vibe. His pan pulse pulling partners plural. Guitar gigs grooving grunge scenes. Empty amplified adventures. Sabbatical shared. Costa Rica calls. Cloud forests cloaking canopies. Zip lines zipping zests. Her harness hug. My midair murmur. Still soaring with you. Jungle jaunts to jade lagoons. swimsuits shed for skin swims, her legs lotus-locked, water waiting our whirl, peaks pristine in paradise purity. Alara's trilogy triumphed, Heart's Horizon, Horizoning Hopes, Horizons of Healing, Illustrations Infinite. Launch Literary, Literati Lauding, Afterglow Atelier, her studio soiree to solitary sin, canvas cloaked in clothes cast, paint palettes for palettes palmed, her daubed desire, my strokes surreal, union a masterpiece modeled. Spring spurred send-offs. Theo's college commit, UW Engineering, Eco-Focus Fierce. Areas move east, U-Haul U-turn to urbanity. Graduation galas double, caps cascading, speeches soaring, his on sustainable souls, hers virtual valediction vibrant. Post-parties poignant, parental pride pulsing, airport après to après-ski. Aspen assigned, slopes slick, her snowboard shred, my ski steady, chalet chills to chimney cheers, for rugs for frenzied frolic, her furrow deep, my fill fervent, avalanches of aftershock. Summer sundered sweetly, kids cross-country convoys, Aria NYC nestling, Theo Seattle settling. Our interregnum, Iceland inferno, geysers gushing glee, blue lagoons bathing bliss, geothermal glow to geothermal grind, hot pots heated, her hover heated, steam shrouding shutters, northern lights nodding our nocturnal nod. Fall framed foundations, Aria's loft life, love's layered, Theo's dorm dynamics, debates deep. Alara's emerita murmurs, mentoring mellowing. My mantle, org CEO crown, chapters cascading coast to coast. Podcast pinnacle, Emmy-esque nod, episodes eternal. Winter welcomed weddings, Aria's engagement, curator commitment, rings recycled from father's vault, ceremony coastal, cliffs crashing canticles. We walked her aisle, Alara's arm alternate, vows vowing volumes. Theo best man banter, bromance blooming, reception revels, dances doubling, our two-step timeless, terrace tryst to toast-tinged trysts, her against balustrade, breeze biting, my bite balancing, release rippling like receding tide. Theo's turn twirled next spring, his partner, engineer ethicist, union understated, backyard bash with bands belting ballads. Aria matron magic, murals manifesting. Our toast tender, build boldly, love boundless. Honeymoon hints for them, ours overdue, Greece graces, islands idyllic, Santorini sunsets to sweet serenades, her chitin charmed, my oar to Odyssey, Aegean embraces, waves washing waves of want, peaks Olympian. Summer siblings settled, visits volleyed, Aria's art accolades, Theo's thesis triumphs. Alara's retirement rite, roast ribbled, her response riposte rich. My sabbatical synced, Sicily's siren song, volcano vistas, her Vesuvius vigor, lava-lit lounges, ash-dusted ardor, eruptions echoed in our earth-shake. Fall's foliage faded to family fusion, grandbabies glimpsed in scans, Aria's first, Theo's talks tentative. Alara's eyes eternal, our circle spirals. Podcast pause, pen to prose, memoir duo, duet defiant. Winter's hush heralded holidays hallowed, grand gathering grand, Aria's bump blooming, Theo's tree trimming. New Year's nexus nostalgic, nest now nexus of next, resolutions reflective, then rekindle raw. Her and year's yarn, soft and sheer, fireside fanning to fan flames, my mouth meandering mounds, her arch answering, symphony symphonic. Cycles close circles, from flood one woman's fight to forebears flourish, love's lexicon limitless, letters of lives linked, humanity's holiest harmony.